All right, 2024 Mustang, stick shift or auto. If you're trying to figure out for your S650 which transmission is best for me, it really does boil down to what you're looking to get out of the car, what you're looking to do with the car. Nowadays, the automatics are very, very impressive. And as much as I hate to say it, I'm obviously in a stick shift right now. You know, I'm a save the manuals guy. I love rowing my own gears, but the automatic has its place too. And nowadays, like I said, I hate to say it, but the number of manuals being bought is definitely going down. That's partially because some people are having less interest in it, which pains me to say, but also because the automatics are getting that much better. You know, we aren't talking about, you know, the 60s, 70s, and 80s where, you know, the automatic overdrive, you know, 3-speed automatic, super slow, it's a dog. If you want to get anything done, you need to row your own gears. It's not like that anymore. It's the automatics are quicker in a straight line. You know, ever since, at least in the Mustang world, ever since the 10-speed automatic came out in 2018, and Evan Smith ran that like 1178, I want to say, in that Kona Blue Performance Package GT. It was a 10-speed car. And prior to that, in 2017, when you had the Gen 2 Coyote, you had the 6-speed MT82, and you had the 6R80. Out of the box, your MT82 is going to get you the fastest quarter mile, and you were looking at, frankly, high 12s, like 12.7, 12.8. And all of a sudden, the 10-speed comes on the scene, and we're talking about 11.7s and 11.8s right out of the box with the 2018s. And that is truly, truly, truly impressive. That a transmission, now granted the Gen 3 Coyote did have a couple extra horsepower, but the transmission almost alone, we'll say 80% of it, dropped over a second in the quarter mile. So the 10-speed is a contender. It really, really is impressive. And since 2018, the 10-speed has gotten smarter, it has gotten better, it has gotten smoother. When the Mach 1 came out in 2021, Ford even said in the press materials for the Mach 1 that the 10-speed automatic in the Mach 1 had an improved torque converter and a different calibration. Then after getting behind the wheel of that car, it definitely felt better. It felt smoother. Just cruising around town, it wasn't clunky, it wasn't jerky, it wasn't doing anything crazy like my 2018 GT did with that first iteration, I should say, of the 10-speed automatic. So it really does boil down to what you're looking to get out of the car, because you're going to have to swallow your pride a little bit with a stick shift Mustang, knowing that you're going to be slower. You're going to have to do more to your car, whether it be suspension at the drag strip and wheels and tires and sticky tires, or a tune under the hood. With these 24 Mustangs, you can't quite do that yet. You know, find ways to get more horsepower out of the car, because the guy with the same exact car next to you but has a 10-speed automatic is going to be considerably quicker. So let's start with who would want a manual. The purist. The purist is going to want the manual transmission in their Mustang. The person that loves to row their own gears might be a little bit old school. They've had other, you know, sports cars or muscle cars before. They don't mind rowing their own gears in traffic or, you know, in a backup. You know, having a manual transmission is a way to feel more connected with the car around you. When you're pushing your foot on the clutch and rowing the gears, and feeling, what the transmission's doing and what the shifter's doing as you knock it in the next gear. Those are all feelings and sensations you get as a driver that you can't get with an automatic. It does it for you, more or less. You do have the paddle shifters, and I know specifically from an autocross, standpoint, that sometimes you do need to use those paddle shifters, and it's a little bit more difficult to follow them around the wheel versus them being column mounted like some of the higher end cars. But the purist is the person that is going to want the stick shift car. Also, the person that does autocross, the person that does road race. Not that the 10-speed can't do that, but it's more likely to get hot, and it's easier to choose your gear. Ford spent a lot of time, especially in the dark horse with the 10-speed automatic, making sure that it can handle road course or severe duty, right? Road course situations, track situations, high heat situations. There's a transmission cooler on the car that helps keep that transmission cool. But call me old school. I know I'm a little bit slower than the 10-speed guys out there, but I enjoy the experience of rowing my own gears, even if it's a little slower. And that's, in 2015 to 2017, it was much easier for the average person to choose a manual transmission. And that is simply because it was faster or relatively equal to the 6R80, the 6-speed automatic car. But now you have to make the decision like, hey, when I buy this car, I'm going to be a little bit slower than the exact same car next to me with the automatic. It's a double-edged sword, because if you want to be faster, let's switch over to automatic. If you want to be faster, if you are more of a straight line person, or if you are more of a cruiser and you like going to, you like cruising to car shows and hanging out with the Mustang Club and going on cruises that way, if you're that kind of Mustang owner and you're not really concerned with rowing your own gears and that sort of thing, an automatic may be a better option for you. Additionally, if you eventually plan to supercharge or turbocharge or add a significant amount of horsepower to your car, let's say 600, 700 range, in that range, an automatic requires you to do a lot less in terms of supporting modifications than a manual would. And that goes for any body style in any year. A manual transmission, the act of banging gears off the rev limiter, clutch in, clutch out, gas off, gas on, flooring it, all the shock to the drivetrain that happens when you're banging gears at those kinds of power levels, you're going to need a lot more supporting mods to handle that power reliably than you would with an automatic. Because an automatic, in essence, is much, much smoother. You have that torque converter to help smooth out the power coming out of the engine. In a manual transmission, that torque converter is your left foot and the clutch. So that is definitely something to keep in mind. If you are the manual guy and you still want that horsepower, and frankly, that's how you would beat the automatic cars, by adding a Whipple or something, or a considerable amount of, naturally aspirated bolt-ons to beat those 10-speed cars that are much quicker. You're going to need a clutch eventually. You're going to need a drive shaft. You're going to need half shafts. You're going to need to beef up the drivetrain. And everything I just listed, you're talking about probably, if you get high-end parts, which, again, you're making the investment in your car, you want to make sure it lasts, the test of time, and the abuse you're going to put through it, especially in a stick car with high horsepower, you're looking at another $3,000 or $4,000 and supporting modifications that you would not need, probably wouldn't need with an automatic. Half shafts I'd probably still get with an automatic car, if you plan to go to the drag strip and put sticky tires on it. But you don't necessarily need a drive shaft. And you obviously don't need a clutch. And a good McLeod clutch, it's like $1,200, $1,400 now, the twin disc. So the automatic cars, if you're the kind of person that likes to go fast, no questions asked, and you plan to supercharge or turbocharge down the road, you're really leaning towards the automatic. And that kind of sucks, honestly. I had the 2018 GT with the 10R80 because I wanted to try the 10-speed when it came out, and I very much enjoyed it, but the novelty to me wore off pretty quickly because I had come from a 2015 GT with the 6-speed, and that car, albeit was much slower than the 2018 with the 10-speed, I mean, you just put it in drive and floor it, and man, it friggin' flies, but it's not as engaging as a stick shift car is. And no matter what no matter what the OEMs try to do to make an automatic car more engaging, it just will not be as engaging as a stick shift car would. But as an owner right now in today's world, as you're speccing out your 2024 or 25 Mustang, or looking at potential used Mustangs, you're gonna need to make that decision. Hey, I don't mind if I'm gonna be a little bit slower just so I can enjoy the driving experience that comes with having a stick shift manual transmission Mustang. So let me know which camp you're in. I'm curious. Are you the purist, or are you the guy just that likes to go really fast? There's nothing wrong with either side. If you want to see more videos like this, whether it be tech tips, more things about the Dark Horse or S650, Ford news, you name it, please subscribe. Let me know what you want to see in the comments as well. Just dipping my toes in this, and it's been a lot of fun, so I guess I'll keep doing it. So hit that like, subscribe, the notification bell, and we'll see you next time.